game last week, as it's gonna be a sack fumble and picked up. It's Hodgins as we need our tight end coming across, just too far out in front, and Bryce Young is down again, and this time it's looking rough. For 2nd and 10, they go down the seam and they have the lead. Side. They'll go down the field and they beat Newsome. They take a 2-score lead pretty much every single time, as it's Stewart with the free rush. Game manager, that's really all we need. A beautiful cut and spin. But they will throw, and a sack comes in right when we need it. Plays here, as we have Boston. That time it's on him, and the speedster at tight end will take the lead before half. A new punter following this game, as it's over the top of St. Just, and it will be a touchdown to level it. Field goal, we take the lead, and it's picked off by Cash. Looks like that might have just slipped through the hands of the receivers, or maybe he picked the pocket. Quick blitz down the middle, sends him to the outside, and Fitzgerald gets the sack. As Arlete got caught up, and what kind of throw was that, Duggan? From that a little bit here, as it is the new guy in Victor. This one up, we send the blitz, and it's Victor with a second. He also caused the fumble, though jumped on by the lineman. We pull off the win despite all the big injuries in this one. And in this game, we did well, despite all the injuries that just kept coming. Unfortunately, that does leave us needing to make a new signing at the beginning of this episode, because we only have one quarterback right now. And against the Bears, Ravens, and Buccaneers, we are going to need at least 2 quarterbacks. So let's head to free agency. And there is one guy here in the list of quarterbacks who I think could step in and do what we need him to do with a very limited window to be prepared, because he's done it before and potentially he might need to do it again. Out of Tennessee, out of space, the Passtronaut and Joshua Dobbs. He came in with the Vikings very short notice, and in the first few games he played really well. And the way he played in those games, that is what we need from him. Just buy time, make some things happen with some short, consistent throws. That is what we need from him. I also love the face scan, because that does not look like him at all. But we are going to be signing Joshua Dobbs to potentially be a starting quarterback for us, though we might still give Duggan the start. When comparing the two, Dobbs to Duggan, well, they're going to have the same kind of athletic build. We know that, but the awareness, I think, is going to be pretty important in deciding how accurate the throws actually end up being, because I feel like awareness is tied into a lot of different things that you might not think of. I was even informed that awareness is tied into how your quarterback slides, whether it's a real slide avoiding hits or the awkward dive forward. It's tied into the awareness, right? Doesn't make sense. So having a near 20 jump there could be really solid. Throw power is a lot less. We were already having to keep most of the throws short, medium at best anyway, so that throw power I don't think is really going to affect things. But the short accuracy is better, the medium accuracy is better, even the deep is slightly better. You're going to have better throw on the run, better throw under pressure, all around better break tackle even. All around, he's just going to be the better quarterback for us. So I think we do give Josh Dobbs the start today. If he struggles, we can put in Duggan. I also love that Dobbs is rocking the number 0. That's fun. We're going to keep it. Now, of course, with bringing in Dobbs, we do have to make room because we are over our 53 man. And unfortunately, the spot that I think we're going to have to make that move is actually over here with the receiver group. Now, obviously, we want to trade Mingo by the week 8 deadline, but we're just not sure where we want to go with that yet. So we're keeping Mingo around for depth purposes. But Sheriff Scruggs, he has not done much with his opportunity. If he's not picked up by the time that we get back to having Bryce Young and make a decision on our backup quarterback from there, we could look to bring back Sheriff Scruggs. But for now, we will have to release him. I would put him on the practice squad, but I feel like he would be more likely to be signed from the practice squad than just sitting as a free agent. So we'll make this release. It's unfortunate, but it's something we have to do. Now, on top of that, I also want to make a move here at punter. Adam Dodson, he has been really bad the first few games. Punts going maybe 30 yards at best. He has the power, 95, but I think it's the accuracy plus the awareness that's just making the kicks truly horrific. So we'll also be releasing him. In turn, we need a new punter, and well, there's a bunch of different options here, but we're just going to go with the guy at the very top in Mitch Wishnowsky. 91 kick power, 85 kick accuracy with 65 awareness. That should do plenty to actually give us some decent punts. Now, as for our opponents this week, it is the Bears, and they do still have Justin Fields here. A 79, hasn't seen a whole lot of development, I feel like. The speed is there, but he hasn't really scrambled that much this year. We'll see if that changes as we jump into the game. As for running back, they do have Roshan. Maybe that's how that's pronounced. They have Johnson. Fourth-year running back out of Texas. He's a 78. They also have Isaiah Spiller and Dante Watts, rounding it out with Donald Tompkins. We'll see if any of these other depth guys get rotated in. As for receiver, DJ Moore, a 90. Darrell Mooney, an 82. TJ Eubanks, second-year receiver out of Michigan State, a 76. And Tyler Scott, fourth-year receiver out of Cincinnati, 74 overall. Zay Fox, 73. And then honestly, Cole Kmet could play a little bit of some receiver if need be, though. Better tight end, an 86 overall. Corey Dupree, their second tight end. Getting to their trenches, Braxton Jones, an 83. Really good start there at left tackle. Left guard, rookie Eric Davis. As a 74, that's not very bad whatsoever. Center, another rookie, Joshua Hackett, 74. And then right guard, they have Tevin Jenkins, 83. And then an 81, Darnell Wright at right tackle. Across the board, I feel like that's actually a really good offensive line. They also have Rob Havenstein, who's in his 12th year, and he could be starting somewhere, but he's sitting on the Bears roster. Getting to the defensive line, Montez Sweat, 84. They also have Max McCall, second-year edge guy out of Buffalo. On the right side, Bryce Huff, 80. They also have Emmanuel Parham, who could maybe see a little bit of some rotation. Bob Cruz down the middle, third-year guy, 79 overall. And then Jervon? Maybe. They got Dexter to back up their rotate in, a 74 overall. Outside linebacker Ben Moore, a 79. Opposite side, you got Nefi Sewell, who is a 68. They also have Chris Rump, the second, who could also just go in there too. Same overall. As for the inside backer, Tremaine Edmonds, 89. Really good, but then they don't have depth. At the cornerback spot, 80 overall, Tyreek Stevenson, then Christian Bedford, 77. So their top guys not like fantastic, but probably will be pretty solid. And then Lynn Allen, a rookie, 75, will be playing their slot. Free safety, they got Larry Hitchens, a 75, though they also had, going back over to it, they have Eddie Jackson. He's just regressed. But the other guys has a day one starter tag, so they're going with a second-year player. At strong safety, Montel Kinney, a 79, though they also have Jaquan Brisker, who's an 84. He's not injured. Honestly, someone should probably bring in Jaquan Brisker. And who knows, maybe with the chaos we've had at safety this year, that could be a potential trade maybe, sending our former, technically still, receiver in Mingo to the Bears. That's an option. Let me know what you think about that. But right now, it's time to jump into this game against the Bears. They're 0-2. We're 1-1. The Falcons, they lead the division right now 2-0. So we need to make sure we're keeping some wins coming in, keeping up with them. And if they lose, hey, maybe we could jump them. So it's early in the year, but right now, it still counts. So let's jump into this one against the Bears. And hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, we stay healthy. Let's get this away game underway as Ford boots us off, and it's a big boot at that. Will be a touchback as Watts takes the knee. They will start at the 25. Justin Fields and this Bears offense. Now, it has not been a very good start to the year for Fields. 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. We want to cause havoc as often as possible as we can, at least today in the backfield. Force some quick throws like that, which go for a gain of 5. Now, obviously, we're missing some players today, and we'll talk about their replacements as we go along. And you can see one of them over to this right-hand side here. Victor Dimukeji, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's getting the start as the edge rusher today. Last week, following the injury to McCullough, we saw Braxton Fitzgerald get most of the playing time, but in the limited playtime, less snaps as they're actually breaking off a good run to the outside here with Johnson. So we've got to make sure we start to lock that down. But in those few plays, I feel like Victor was more impactful, so we're rocking with him as they try to get to the outside again. It's Victor who does not get the tackle. Shepard will eventually get there. Heavy running to start, and it is working. And to be honest, if we keep seeing bad tackling like that from Victor, we will definitely make the switch. He does have the better block shed ability, so he should technically do better in the run. Good coverage there from Newsome. But essentially, just as we've learned with most of this series, is we've just got to be flexible and just make adjustments wherever we can, as Castaneda just gets hurdled, but it's fine. We got several guys back there. Victor takes half the credit on the sack, the other half going to Owe. Though honestly, if they ever split sacks into thirds, credit some of that to Castaneda. He forced the rollout to begin with. It's 3rd and 18 now, as Fields will dump this one off. And we'll pick up some yardage, make it 4th and 7 down to the 28. Should be pretty easy field goal range as they do find more. So a little bit of some bending, but no breaking, at least as long as they don't do anything crazy on this play. Snap back kick is up, and it will be a 3-point lead for the Bears. But now for the moment we've all been waiting for. The Passtronaut takes the field for the Panthers, and we will not be starting with a pass. We will start with Chuba Hubbard, and we will lean heavily on the running game today. And with that, we need to make sure that we keep our running backs healthy. Chuba Hubbard a little bit slow to get up there, but he's good enough. He says he'll stay in for the 2nd down run as he will stretch it to the outside, bumped out 2 yards shy. But that should set us up here on 3rd down as we come out with a heavy shotgun set. And the Passtronaut's first play is a run right down the middle. He picks up 7 and the 1st down. If there was one thing I learned from watching Joshua Dobbs with the Vikings, is that you've got to let him be himself, be that athletic threat at quarterback, and that's exactly what we plan on doing with him. As Chuba Hubbard will take the screen, a little bit of a late bump there, but we already picked up the 1st. If they gave us the extra 15, sure, I would have taken it. Instead, 1st and 10 just at the 41. I'm going to motion out Chuba Hubbard as a bit of a distraction. Hand this one off down the middle. It is Barry shaking first contact, plowing through the 2nd, a gain of 13. Honestly, the game plan is very similar to what we had last week. A lot of short, quick passes, though occasionally we will take a shot as we have one dialed up here, though the primary read is going to be Chenault as he comes in motion. He actually opened up to the outside, but the Passtronaut decides to gain 5 the quick and easy way. Now, how often am I going to call him the Passtronaut? Well, that depends on how many interceptions he ends up throwing. 2nd and 5, we are going to go with a throw, at least potentially here, to the outside. We got Boston, who will pick up the 1st. That bump, that was fine. He was maybe about half a step out of bounds. And honestly, just sometimes you're going to take those bumps. It is what it is. Now, one thing I have not mentioned yet, we are short 1 starter for the offensive line as the injury-prone Clifton at left guard is out with an injury. And his backup did not pull around in time to actually lead anything there. So we'll end up going for a loss of 1. Now, that is a rookie at left guard getting the opportunity today as we have a screen pass dialed up. Get it out to Chenault. If we could bounce it to the outside, we might have the corner maybe with a little bit more speed. But 3rd and 1, I'll take. Especially when we got a guy like Barry in the backfield, our short down and distance guy. Followed behind the healthy side of the offensive line and stopped about half a yard shy. Well, the good thing is he gives us 3 more opportunities as we switch to the Wildcat formation. Chenault in motion. as we keep it and get plowed down in the backfield. Loss of about 4. Larry Hitchens shaken up on the play. All around bad for both sides. I'm just trying to have a little bit of fun with this, especially with the quarterback out. Brought in a new guy, not completely ready. Now we bring Callaway out at quarterback with an RPO option to the outside. We'll get it out to Chuba. He gets some space, and Callaway has the throwing touchdown. The fullback / tight end from last year. A little bit of quarterback action as Chuba Hubbard gets the play. And that's just a great start to this one. Defense only allowed the field goal. Offense just marched down the field with a brand new quarterback. Now, if we could clean up some of the run game here, that would be great as they break off another one. 4 rushes for Johnson, near 60 yards to end the quarter. That is the only thing we are struggling with right now. And honestly, it's all just runs to the outside. So we're going to shake up the base formations here for us. Get the defensive line spread out a little bit more. Linebackers, we're just going to need you to flow. Make the plays as Stockton, why did you just fall over when you could have swatted the ball away? Quite literally the definition of a dive there. 1st and 10 at the 37 as they look to throw here. Instead, Fields looks to scramble. Stockton coming in, and he dove again and just missed the play. What is up with Stockton today? Normally such a dominant force across the middle for us. Iffy beginning here. Hopefully he cleans some things up as we get the blitz off the edge. It's Dimukeji who went for the hit before he arrived. That's a late hit. That should be 15 yards, but it will definitely be a fine. All around, just some very weird antics happening from our defense to start this one as they hand it off down the middle. It's Johnson with some shake and bake action, keeping those legs moving. This is a really promising running back for their future. And honestly, right now, it just seems like we're just getting outpowered just across the board. Running, line blocking, all around as they go with the weak side dive and in. Roshan Johnson, and he's been roasting us. That pun probably not too good, but you see what I intended. But that will give the Bears a 2-point lead as they actually had the PAT blocked. Passtronaut and our offense head out to start our next drive, needing to answer back as Chuba Hubbard bounces it with a nice juke, another juke, a stiff arm, and a 1st down. Hey, we could run the ball too. And on top of that, we could run it with about 4 or 5 different positions on this team, including apparently our tight ends that we keep bringing in at quarterback. Rolling out here, see if we can get it downfield to Chenault. A great throw there from Dobbs, who started 4 of 4. You know, if the only thing that Dobbs brings is just a little bit of fun, excitement, and honestly just some vibes to this team, I will take it. As we have Boston, though the safety coming over gets the swat. Needed that maybe thrown a little bit harder and to the outside. But I am perfectly happy taking those shots just to see if we could hit on a couple of them. 2nd and 10. We go back to the running game. It opens up for Chuba, who sprints to the outside. A big stiff arm. Tries to shake off another 3-4 defenders. Will pick up an extra couple. Typically not much of the power back, but occasionally he will show off that strength. As we go back to the heavy shotgun look, Dobbs looking for some space to run, and he will pick up a couple, take a few shots along the way. But if we are strictly just looking for someone to run primarily and occasionally pass, I'm fine with Dobbs taking some of those hits. Once again, Hubbard motioned out, leaves us with Barry, and he will not power through the linebacker. Not sure, but either way, it's Laviska Shenault who is injured here, and he's going to head to the bench. Looks like a shoulder problem. So that will take out one of our receiving options. Brandon Cooks, once again, going to have to step in, play a little bit of slot receiver for us. 3rd and 5. Trying to get this one out to Chuba Hubbard as we try to lead him, but a beautiful tackle on the outside. That's Dexter. We still are in field goal range, though. So while it's not anything crazy here, a field goal still gives us a lead, and it is Cole Ford with yet another field goal made. And now with our 1-point lead, can we stop the running game? That is the main quest today, not one that I thought was going to be the focus, stopping the run of the true running back. If anything, I thought we were going to have to stop Fields from scrambling, but he hasn't had to do much. It's honestly just been a pretty simple game plan for the Bears, going back to, I feel like, their golden days. Heavy running, some ground and pound. As we get the blitz, it's thrown out, and Gardner Johnson, I don't know what he was doing, but Cole Kmet is trying to sprint away, and he will, just far enough to fall down into the end zone. A one-play, two-play answer from the Bears. But honestly, it seems like the defense is good for a drive just like that at least once a game. It leaves us about 2.5 minutes left before halftime to answer, in which we will definitely look to try to do as long as we can find somewhere to roll. Unfortunately, nowhere to go there. Dexter with the sack. And from there, we will just hit the 2-minute warning, come up with a game plan after the loss of yards. And apparently that break, we came up with, how about we send out our fastest player and just get him the ball right off the get-go. Murray trying to sprint to the outside, though. Pretty good lateral speed there from the Bears defense. Though I'm sure the planning also was to come up with an idea here for third down. 3rd and 8, they do walk the safety down here. So let's just see if we could just get Bateman right down the seam. Boston can maybe pull the safety over. That's exactly what happens, enough to get us that seam or numbers area. And we'll just get right back to it. And they bring down the safety again. They do shift out the linebacker. And we will go with the screen out to Faust, who will pick up 4. Back from injury from last week, and I believe only his 2nd catch. Though I do have to say he's looked pretty impressive in practice, and we're going to send him deep here with that safety over the top of Bateman, who's going to go in towards the inside. Would make this a one-on-one. Put out for Faust with the catch. He's that strong-handed receiver that this team has been needing. Coming in at a whopping 6'4", 220 to 30 pounds. I mean, he's a big dude who has some speed out there as well. Draw goes nowhere, loss of 1, and we call our first timeout. Now we still have 25 seconds left and 2 timeouts, so we've got some options here. Boston towards that back pylon might open up depending on that outside corner. Leverage stays well, but put on him. Boston couldn't squeeze it. Pretty good throw there from Dobbs, only where his target was going to get to it. And just unfortunately, sometimes you get those, sometimes you don't. Now I want Bateman here, so I'm sending Hubbard on a quick out route to try to pull down Edmonds. Though that does not actually end up working. Instead, across the middle, we have Thomas. Touchdown to take the lead once again. And if I am not mistaken, that is the first touchdown with the Passtronaut, putting us up 17-16. So battling through, we've given up some big plays defensively. We've got to tighten up against the running game. We gave up one big chunk pass play that we nearly got a sack on. So it's not like the defense is playing bad offense. They've got a little bit of some juice to them. And we just got to keep making the plays. Now, a team we need to stop making the plays are the Falcons. They are tied right now against the Steelers, 14-14. Both of them opposite records. Just need, again, the Steelers come on through for us, knock down the Falcons a notch here. As we look to a rivalry game early in the season, the Vikings are up 28-14 on the Packers. Not a good start to the season for the Packers, 0-2. Vikings 1-1. As for our final update, another division game happening, or division rival in a game, as the Commanders are up against the Buccaneers 13-10. Commanders trying to find their first win of the season. But as we get our second half back underway here, we do start on offense, a perfect opportunity to try to widen our 1-point lead as we start with a shotgun set. Once again, trying to get Chuba Hubbard out into some space. But can someone slow down Dexter? He's broken that play up twice. So it seems like we might just have to find a different way, or honestly just take the screens to the opposite side. That might be a better option moving forward. 2nd and 13, same look, different play call. As it steps up right down the middle here, that's going to be Joshua Dobbs, who fumbles it, and it I said that so strangely, finds its way into the hands of the Bears defender. Dobbs is not happy. Trying to say he was down, but he most certainly was not. As he was going down, the ball did get ripped out. 100% a fumble. Bears take over with a chance to retake a lead yet again as it's passed downfield, and what a throw. That timing on point. A split second earlier or later, and that is not a catch. 1st and 10 now down to the 11. They will throw yet again to the outside. That is Moore who shook the tackle as St. Just, and it will be another change of the lead as the Bears retake it. But this time, they are not settling for the point after. They want the 2-point here to make it an actual touchdown game as they go with a toss to the outside, cutting back in and coming up short. Away. Barely gets the tackle in time. Well, the lead will stay at 5 as our offense comes back out following our previous fumble. Need to not do that anymore. To just be as honest as possible. Don't turn the ball over. And just handing the ball off to Chuba Hubbard and picking up 9, well, yeah, that works out a lot better for us. We'll keep with a similar look here. Motion out Winters, try to get the stretch to the outside, get him to that safety. Get Chuba Hubbard downfield, who puts a juke, slips by a couple defenders, though that last one gets him. But we do climb up to midfield, sitting on the 50 here as we change up the look. We will go with a pass out of it here. Got our tight end coming across. That's Boston, holds on to it. Another gain of 9. Now we just need to pick up that last one we forgot on the previous play, and it will be with Joshua Dobbs, who bounces it instead to the outside, does not get the juke, but he does get an extra yard or so fighting through the tackle. I thought for maybe a split second there he could have bounced that one. We will actually send him over to the sideline here. We bring out just receivers, tight ends, running backs, and it's Callaway at quarterback with the fullback dive essentially, and he will get close to picking up the first down, but it's Jedrick Wills Jr. shaken up again. This has happened at least once every game so far this year. This time he's heading to the locker room. Now, considering we were already having to start one of our backups, we are now down to 3 of our 5 normal starters. Looking for a run down the middle, Chuba Hubbard. Nice juke and another first down run, down to the 12. Honestly, kind of take the Bears playbook on this drive, just going mostly with the runs as we have our tight end. The ball ends up coming up weird. Somehow it makes it to him, but he was out of bounds at the point of the catch. So while it was almost another touchdown for Dobbs, it unfortunately was not a touchdown for Dobbs. Look for maybe Chenault to the back pylon here. He gets the step on the corner, though the placement is off. And now we got to find a way to get down to the 2 here on 3rd down. We got the RPO dialed up, and we will keep it with Chuba, and we're not getting anywhere close to that 2. So after what looked to be a promising drive, we will have to settle with the field goal. This would make it a 2-point game. And with how much the fluctuation of the lead has been today, I am perfectly fine keeping it within a field goal game. We just got to find a way to have our defense actually get a stop here, and shaking up the look here might help us ensure that we don't give up the run, and well, it worked that play. TFL with Stewart. Unfortunately, just one of those last names. You can't really do the rolling gravel voice thing I like to do. The first name, though, definitely can. 2nd and 11. Field scanning, and perfectly thrown again to Moore. That connection between those two, fantastic. Honestly, it looked like we were going to undercut that route, but just too far to the outside and too high. I mean, there's no way we could get to it. As they go with a run here, it's not Johnson, it's the backup running back in Watts who will only manage 2. But even that 2 is much better than not getting said 2. As they look to go with a stretch to the outside, well read by the defense, counted as another TFL loss of that 2. So it does seem like defense has started to make some better adjustments along the line, just shifting guys to where they need to be as they go. The halfback screen, Castaneda just ate him up quite literally. I think he wrapped him up like a burrito. And with that stop from the defense, it makes going for just the field goal perfectly fine. Offense heads out as we start with the I formation, looking for a little bit of a rollout. We've got some options downfield, but the ball pops out. Winters, you've got to pay attention. That's another fumble for Dobbs, and the Bears take over inside the red zone. And quite honestly, it was plays just like that that was the reason that he no longer was the starter for the Vikings after a pretty promising start with the team. Good knockout there by St. Juste, and now Owe is shaken up again. For the most part, we were looking really good and just staying healthy this game, but now we are dropping late in this one. 2nd and 10. They look for a run down the middle. Johnson patient until we bite his ankles. Gain of 4. Now, luckily here on 3rd down, Owe does come back out. He's saying shoulder strain. We'll see if it's actually anything more as this goes along, but we need a big play here across the middle. It's caught by Komet, but he was down prior to crossing the line. And I really do mean just. This ball about a centimeter from the goal line. As it's big on big, they go with the toss to the outside. We got to flow to it, and Stockton flows too late. The Bears will widen their lead. Now down at 9 points. We got 1 play left, 1 second left before the 4th quarter. And we've got to make sure we're bringing in some points here late on. Need to make sure we're keeping up with the Bears. Keep it close. Keep it within striking distance as we pick up 4, sending us to the 4th. And this is just where we have to have our best. No more mistakes. Only clean play from here. As we start once again with that fullback dive, and he cuffs it up. I mean, is Madden just waiting for me to say something like that? No more turnovers, and then immediately just laughs to itself and then turnover. I mean, Callaway's been so good every time he's ran the ball, and he's ran the ball plenty, considering he's supposed to just be a tight end. That time, fumble. And then we can't tackle. Interesting tackle there, though. 1st down for Johnson. Now, at most here, we could give up a field goal. That'll still keep it a 2-score game, but touchdown, definitely not going to help us out much at all. We've got some time, but the offense is not really a down-the-field striking team. And it might just take that to get us back into this one. 2nd and 1. They go back to the run. Johnson stood up at the line, but they give him the 1st down. I don't agree with that spotting. And honestly, what do you expect? We're playing in Chicago. They're going to get the calls that go their way most of the time. As it's Johnson down the middle again, a strong run of 4. It really does not seem like this defense has had to compete against a running back with his strength and aggressiveness, as Hodgins missed the sack. Owe misses, and Fields gets the touchdown. Are you kidding me? That should have been an easy sack. It was like Dak in the end zone. I mean, that quite literally is how you know the script was not written for you. 2-point attempt here, and that time we get the tackle in the backfield. All right, well, we keep it a 15-point game, so still 2-score, but we're going to need a 2-point in there somewhere. And with a quarterback with 83 throw power, we're going to have to see all of that 83 here late on, because we're going to have to start throwing the ball. As it opens up across the middle, there goes Madison Boston to midfield. Now let's get back to the line quickly here, because we need to conserve as much time as possible. They're going to have a little bit of some press on the outside here. That might open up things for Chenault, or Bateman gets the step. Safety a little bit late, but too much of that 83 throw power. It is overthrown. Not too sure how much more of that we can afford. 2nd and 10. We need a little bit of some Chuba Hubbard here. Get the halfback screen out, see what he could do. Picks up some yards. 3rd and 4. Let's get back to it quickly yet again. On top of it, we are going to flip the formation, send the 3 to the right-hand side. We need some of these quick stops, or we need Dobbs to just be ready to run for it, which we will do. To the outside, good block downfield from Faust. Scramble up out of bounds as Dexter now shaken up. Unfortunate for the Bears, but that might help us out here. And I really hate to talk of injuries in that manner, but he has taken away a lot of our halfback screen opportunity of late. As we get this one out to Barry, gets some blocks. Well, he does. He also runs into most of said blocks. Ends up being a decent gain. We'll get back to it here. Bateman to the right-hand side as we've kind of switched guys See if we can make a big play to Bateman, and it's thrown up out of bounds, though a flag comes in well late. And they're going to call DPI on that. Honestly, not one I necessarily agree with, but a makeup call for the first down they gave the Bears on their last drive, as Barry down the middle goes nowhere. Quick stop for sure. Maybe look for a pass instead. Bateman or Barry. Also a quick stop with Boston, as it will be for Madison Boston, the rookie. Gets 2 touchdowns, well, combined from last week and this week. Need more from just all around the offense, but that is a touchdown we needed. But now we need to tack on 2. I would much rather try to get the 2-point here than later on in this game, as we are still down 9 points here. Looking for a pass or Dobbs to run, and it will be instead a loss of about 87 yards. No 2-point. Well, we're going to need a quick stop from the defense then. And considering how we've done against the run game so far in this one, we need to see our best play here, as it's a pass play 1. How do we keep not getting these sacks? Instant first down as they find command. That's at least, if not the last 2 plays, the last 3 plays that should have been a sack for us that have not gone that way. As they look for a stretch to the outside, quick stop there. We honestly need to start calling our timeouts here. We are down multiple scores. Gotta make sure that we get this quick stop. 2nd and 11. There was honestly more room to the opposite side, but he's just looking for contact. He picks up a decent chunk, leaving 3rd and 5. However, with time remaining, the Bears definitely could look for a pass here as they spread wide. A little bit of some play action. See what opens up for him downfield, as it's Newsome. He gets the pick. We'll get the ball. We don't have to worry about the punt. Unfortunately, Oweh shaken up, but that's going to save us some timeouts in a way. Hopefully he can bounce back. It looks like that shoulder strain coming back to bite him. But we've got to be really smart this drive. If we could get passes to the sideline and then out of bounds, that's really what we just have to have. As Madison gets the step, that's exactly what we need. Catch, big chunk, first down, out of bounds. We still need 2 scores in this game, and we only have 1 timeout. So that's how quick we got to make something happen here, as we are trying to roll out, get this one out to Chenault. I mean, catch the ball, dude. I mean, either way, it would have been a gain of 5 and something. It would have been something. 2nd and 10, 3:06 on the clock. Who's going to get open? How about Faust downfield? Looking like it's going to be a one-on-one, and he didn't find it originally, but nearly found it after the tip. Leaves us 3rd and 10. And with all the receivers needing a little bit of a breather, it's the heavy set here, which didn't work out too well for us on our 2-point, but we find Thomas, and it's through his hands. At the 45, what to do here? Well, we need multiple scores, and Ford says he could hit this one. It's a 61, maybe 62-yarder. It is up. He's got the power, and he's got the accuracy. We make it a 1-score game. Little over 2 minutes left. We have 1 timeout. In defense, we've got to have it here. We cannot give up a first down. That would be just awful for us. As they swing it out, they're going for Clement, who gets the first down, and he fights back inbounds. Well, that was the one and only first down we could give up. With that, they have to run at least 1 play here before the 2-minute. We have 1 timeout, so we can make it work. It's just not perfect, as they're definitely letting this one roll as much as possible. Throw to the outside, knocked away Gardner Johnson. That saves us some time as well. And they're definitely being a little cheeky here, going for the passes rather than just running with Johnson, who's had such a strong game today, as that nearly opened up right down. I mean, it did open up. He picks up 6. Quick 2-minute warning. They don't, again, show any sort of animation for it, and this is the play that decides the game right now. 3rd and 4. They hand it off. Stockton was there, and he missed the tackle again. That should have given us a chance on offense. Instead, now we may not have that said chance. We had him stuffed. We just didn't tackle him. Didn't even try. As they're just going to let the play clock roll down as much as possible. Fake the jet sweep going back to Johnson, and there is our last timeout. And they will just kneel it out from here. Combined about 80 seconds, and that's pretty much what's left in this game, unless they decide to do something weird here and give us an opportunity. They could definitely just run out clock, and that's what I expect them to do. But Madden's weird. I'm banking on some Madden weirdness here. 3rd and 9, another kneel. Now, do they just let it roll? They will send out the field goal unit here. Are they going for some garbage time points? They are. We hit the kicker late, and they missed the field goal, but they could just decline it. Either way, the game is over here. So after what was nearly a comeback, it really came down to just bad tackling. For some reason, we could not handle Roschon Johnson in this one. We had our fair share of trouble on offense. Turnovers were a problem. It was, outside of that, a competitive, good game, but that is now 2 losses to start the season. And if losing 2 in the first 3 games wasn't bad enough, just look at this injury report. Bryce Young, he's still going to miss another 2 games. In this game, Jedrick Wills Jr. tore his labrum as well. He's going to be out the next 3 games. Owe tore his labrum out the next 3 games. I mean, it's just insane. So 100% we are now changing the injury slider because this is just too much. This is unrealistic. There's already lower injury ratings because in real life, yeah, a lot of players get injured. So let's try to balance this about as much as we can. And that's going to have to come through just changing some of the gameplay sliders. Now, these are not my sliders. These are Matt 10 sliders. Go check him out because these are not mine. But I'm going to try lowering injuries. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Hurricane, he said, I want to say he says he has tried 11 because he too is just, the injuries are just not realistic. We're not going to go with 11, but I'm going to take it down to 20. See if that just limits the amount of continual guys leaving games throughout games, because it's like pretty much one every single drive, it seems like at times. Plus at least one big injury almost every single game, if not multiple, as we've had this year. So we're going to try 20. If that doesn't get us where we're looking for, then we could continue tweaking it. But injuries definitely needed to be lowered. And unfortunately, we're going to be just a very beat up team going up against one of the league's best. The Baltimore Ravens, 3-0, as we right now are just barely hanging on to 3rd place in the NFC South. The Buccaneers, they won last week. We play them next week. They are 2-1. The Falcons, 3-0 to start the year. So we've really got to start riding this ship. And it's going to have to come through guys stepping up through injuries. Might also have to make some more roster changes. Mingo now might need to be traded prior to that week 8 trade deadline just to help fill in needs from injuries. So let me know if you think there's a person that we should specifically go after for the offensive line. Defensive line now needs it with injuries there. And hopefully we'll continue to see good play for the most part from the Passtronaut. Outside of a couple missed throws and the fumbles, I think he was just fine. Honestly, played very similar to Bryce Young, just less throw power. So I think we're good with that quarterback spot for the next couple games until we get back Bryce Young and offensive line better block. So make sure you stick around and see just how well we manage these injuries. Hit that bear icon on the bottom right or scroll down, hit that sub button. They both do the same thing in subscribing. And definitely hit that bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. This series every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Plus Wednesdays and Saturdays, we have the state-only challenge. Currently, the state of Alabama back in the playoffs for the 3rd time in 4 years. Hopefully, this is the year. That next episode comes out tomorrow. Do not miss it. As for us, we'll be back with this one on Monday against the Ravens and a battle of a beaten-up team versus an 0-3 Lamar Jackson-led team.